What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
We're going to continue to talk about Thailand because that's how much I loved my trip to Thailand. I want y'all to experience the same joys and happiness that we did. Most of our peers only be talking about Japan or Europe. And I love how they say Europe like it's one country. There's a lot going on in Europe. So anyways, a lot of people be leaving out Thailand and Southeast Asia. All I'm saying is this. It would be a damn shame if you missed out going to Thailand once in your life. On the last episode, we spoke a lot about food and shopping and just some general things about Thailand. This week, let's talk about some of the adventures we got on. We left y'all off in Bangkok. For the most part, our Bangkok trip was a lot of eating and shopping. That was one of the goals. Yes, I actually made that a point to shop and eat. If y'all know me from other trips I've done, shopping's probably the least most important thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like going on trips to experience the culture and see things. Food, if it's a country that's known for good food or if there's something that they do really well, just a simple generic example. Japan got the best sushi in the world because they have the freshest fish and they invented sushi and shit, right? So you got to try sushi.
Mm-hmm.
England doesn't have the best cuisine, so eating in London wasn't a big deal to me.
Well, there's places out there that you don't like because you're not a foodie.
No, what I'm saying. Yes, there are other places because London has a big population of people from India and they have a great Chinatown. But I'm just saying, those are foods from foreigners that moved over there. Like, we tried some of those things, but I'm just talking about what is England known for? What's a must-have English cuisine?
The meat pies.
The shepherd's pie?
Yeah, the meat pies.
Did we have that?
Yeah. I didn't have it at a place where it was like a must-go for a meat pie. It was basically just something to tide me over because we were traveling between Salisbury, where Stonehenge is, and there's nothing out there in Stonehenge.
Yeah.
So it was between, going from Stonehenge back to London, and there was nothing else in the area. So it was pretty much just a gift shop that happened to sell shepherd's pie or meat pies, and that's where I tried it. But they're mostly known for their meat pies and their mash and the English breakfasts that come with sausage, the baked beans, the tomatoes, the eggs, the breads, the everything. Like it's like a grand slam breakfast, and you must have it. You must.
Okay,
have
so
it.
my point exactly. For a country that's colonized the whole damn world, they only have 3 things you gotta try: shepherd's meat pie, their breakfast, and fish and chips, because that's just so stereotypical. Watch any travel video you want about England and London, and they will always say, London's got fine cuisine if you try out everything else. Try out all the food from the foreigners. But they're like, sadly, British cuisine ain't the most desirable.
I tried to speak up for London, but
No, I'm not saying there's not any good
England,
restaurants. It's just what I meant out of all this was I like to try foods that originate from the country. That's why I said unlike England, because England isn't really known for the best cuisine. But you go to Thailand, you go to India, you go to Japan, you go to some of these other countries, and they're known for good food. The one thing that Shana was most excited about in England was having a drink at the pub every night.
because it was awesome. Other pubs look awesome and authentic and old, and I just wanted to be there. Okay.
Shauna wasn't chanting for food. She wasn't lining up for lobster 3 nights in a row. No,
I really wasn't.
she wanted to drink pints at the pub every night. So that goes to show how not excited about food she was.
I guess not, unless you go to like I think it was called the Borough Market. I really didn't go for much other than just fish and chips most of the time. But you know what I mean? Like it's...
Anyway, not proving her point at all.
I was there for the beer.
Just went on a whole ass tangent about nothing.
I was trying, okay? I will always speak up for food. Mm-hmm. Always.
And yet you spent most of your money in England drinking pints. That's it.
It was a thing to do. What can I say?
Anyways, back to what I was saying. Bangkok was really just eating and shopping and checking out some of their nightlife. What they have in Thailand is like famous walking streets. They don't quite have a full ass strip like in Vegas, But what they do have is a bunch of smaller quote unquote strips, just like you go down one street and it's like a couple blocks. It's very similar to if you go to like a medium-sized cities downtown, you might have like 3-4 blocks of bars and restaurants and stuff like that. So that's kind of the feel. One of the most recommended ones, that one of the famous walking streets that kept popping up on my research was the red light district. You know shit's gonna go down in the Bangkok red light district. I had to do a lot of research just because I didn't want to end up kidnapped or lost in the jungle somewhere. Didn't want to wake up in a treehouse with parts of my organs missing. After doing all the research about the red light district, I mentally prepared us for a ratchet good time. I warned our Chris Brown friend, since he was going to be by himself, because he wasn't paired up with a girl or anything, that he was going to get assaulted. And he didn't believe me. As soon as he took a few steps into the red light district, it was on. The girls were coming out of every bar, tugging on his arm like he was Chris Brown for real. Hey, sexy boy. Hey, sexy. Oh, Chris Brown. Oh, sexy boy, come here. Oh, Drake, come here. Pretty much any light-skinned black entertainer they could think of, that's who he was. And we heard it all that night. They just kept calling him these names. And he's just like, he was feeling himself for a second. Oh, yeah, these girls are for me. Me and Shana are looking at each other like, didn't we just tell him that they don't care who you are? They're going to be up on you because they're trying to get this money. But then to our disappointment, just like his chicken fried rice adventures, he didn't enjoy any of it.
Nah.
Sorry, let me correct that. He enjoyed the attention, but he didn't dare go do anything. He didn't dare go into any of the bars that were trying to get him to go into. There was a couple that looked safe. And I was like, go, dude, just go. And he's just like, I don't want to. He was so terrified of either getting taken advantage of or just going missing. I'm like, dude, you're not alone. They know you're with us. So at the very least, they're not going to like, sell you on eBay.
They might try, but...
But still, they know you're with us and you know that we're just outside the door, But he was so scared to even like go do anything, which kind of got on my nerves because like all the weeks leading before the trip, all he could talk about was how he was going to turn up. He was going to get so wild and lit. He wanted his own hangover story where he doesn't remember anything and we got to like show him pictures. He wanted all that. He knew I was vlogging. He's like, make sure you film me, when I start acting out because I want to, remember my trip. All right, cool. So I'm thinking we about to get hype. Man, when he didn't get hype at the red light district, I knew it was going to go downhill from there.
Yeah.
All I could say was, really, bro? This is as hype as you're going to get? To his defense, we're like, okay, maybe he's warming up. He's warming up. Because to his defense, the only other place we went out, like nightlife stuff, was just some little strip of bars by our condo. It was kind of a place where all like the locals hang out. A couple bars and a couple restaurants. Just chill. Going back to the red light district, since we didn't stop at any bars to get drinks or anything because he was too scared to go in any of them, we're like, okay, maybe once he drinks a little more and we pregame before we go to the next spot, it'll change. Was there anything at the red light district that stuck out to you? Something had to.
There was one thing, like a red light district, you know what you're getting yourself into. There's going to be ladies, there's going to be music, there's going to be partying. But one thing that I've never heard of, I don't know if this is only for like in Thailand or what, but I don't even know if I could say it on this podcast because we put this on YouTube. So, but it was called, the word I'll use is kitty ping pong. So you know what I'm talking about. Girl parts, ping pong, and
3 P's. Kitty ping pong show. 3 P's. Kitty ping pong. Kitty ping pong.
So I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe they just mean like girls playing ping pong. Boy, was I wrong. They literally meant girls that are... I wish I had gone in and seen this because I couldn't fathom them putting a ping pong ball in their purse and then like...
Okay, Shauna's being too vague. Girls were shooting ping pongs out their coochies, okay? Just like that.
And I'm glad you said that because one of the guys that was promoting the kitty ping pong show was like, oh, kitty ping pong. I'm like, no, he did not. No, he did not make that sound. I'm like, Oh shit. After that, I really should have gone in. I really should have, and I regret it fully.
Every couple feet you would walk, and there'd be some guy trying to sell a ping pong show, and sometimes he wouldn't even say show. All you'd hear, that's all he would do is make the popping noise.
How do you even do that?
Ping pong, ping pong, ping pong.
That's why I would have loved to have seen how they do this, because I can't I can't I can't fathom that coming out of this.
It just makes you curious. Is like, are they laying on the table? Are they in a bar stool?
Well, they have to be laying down
back?
somewhere.
Is someone picking them up?
They're not jumping and like, oh god, that would have been even worse.
And then in ping pong, you got to hit the ball back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Like, how are they making this thing go at that velocity where they can just keep going back and forth? Like, is the other one catching it in their snatch? Like,
ooh.
I don't know. See, these are questions I need answered, and I want to go back so bad just so I can see this. And if any of you have ever heard of this before at any other place, like especially here in America, like I would love to see that.
Queef Quidditch. That's what the Wizards need.
Oh my god. If you've ever heard of this before, let me know down in the comments if you've seen this somewhere else, because I would love to see this without having to go all the way to Thailand. But I would love to see it from there too, if it's originated there. But God.
It was funny too, because when we called the cab to come get us that night, the first thing he asked, "Oh, you guys check out the ping pong show?" He's like, "It's pretty cool."
I wish.
Dude was also like, I give people rides to the red light district all the time, and I've seen so many free ping pong shows. He's like, I never get tired of it. He's like, I see it at least once or twice a week, because someone always wants to hire me to drive them for the whole day. He'll turn off his like light, and then he'll just be this person's private driver. So wherever they go, he goes. So he gets free drinks and ping pong shows, and then they jump in his cab and he goes to the next location.
Yeah.
My friend did not want to do any of that. He didn't even want to sit for one drink, and he was just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, okay, whatever. Needless to say, we didn't spend too much time in the red light district, just because if anything is going to happen in a bad way, it's going to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
So we just hop in the cab. We went to another one of the famous streets to go party at, and the vibe was kind of different, maybe because it was how it was set up. A lot of the bars don't have like indoor seating area, so you just kind of like go to where their tables are and get some drinks, and you just kind of hang out. But there wasn't a lot of places to like dance and party unless you're just going to dance and party on the street.
Mm-hmm.
I was down at that point because we already had a disappointing time at the red light district. Our friend Chris Brown was being lame, so we went to this other street and just started drinking and walking around. I had a good time. Did you enjoy that walking and drinking experience?
I always do. When there's a place where I can just wander and not have to worry about, being a certain way. It's not like that in Thailand. Like, you can literally walk around, find anything that you want to do, and you'll have a good time just walking around and like hanging with the locals and seeing what they do.
How the bars were kind of set up is you pretty much had to order something before they let you in.
Yeah.
A lot of the waitresses were standing outside with the menu. So as long as you told them what you wanted to order, they would sit you down and give you a seat. That makes sense. They're trying to make sales. They're not trying to just let you come and linger in their bar for free.
And again, our Chris Brown friend was just not having a good time. I was more intrigued looking at some of the deals that they had going on. Like, I remember going to this one place and buying a bucket of whiskey. A bucket, and they put a lemon in it, and they put a straw in it. And I'm like, all this for $5? Are you serious? Like, they literally just took a whole handle full of whiskey and just poured it in a bucket and just gave me a straw and was like, have a nice day. And I'm like, what do you mean, have a nice day? I got a bucket full of alcohol. I'm just walking around like, we're sipping on alcohol, bear hugging my bucket.
The advertisement for that literally said, $5 gets you effed up. I'm like, wow, really? And that's what intrigued us. No fancy name, no fishbowl, no nothing. This was just $5 get you effed up. Whiskey. That's it. No cute name. We're like, okay, I appreciate the honesty.
So, like, even just seeing those kinds of things, we're just going through, like, buying buckets of whiskey, just walking around having a good time. And Chris Brown still just not having a good time, still looking at us sideways. Even though we paid for all of the alcohol that night, he's still like, meh, meh. I don't know what he was looking for or what he was trying to do. Cause he never said that either.
Yeah.
He was just going along. We even asked him, like, dude, what do you want to do? Honestly, what is it that you want to do? And he's like, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We just did what we wanted to do.
And he just looked like he wasn't having fun. And that's what was getting on my nerves. Earlier, I let the shit slide. He hasn't been drinking yet. He hasn't loosened up. Then we went to the next spot. We've been drinking on our dime. Like I said, you had to pretty much buy drinks before they sat you down. So the best deal were buckets of beer or $5 buckets of whiskey. But for those that don't like liquor and mixed drinks, you can get a bucket of like 6 or 7 beers, Heinekens, Coronas, like that type of beer. We even got Reds, those apple Reds, or I forgot who makes that, or
Strongbows or something like that.
Yeah, the Strongbows, or if you like Bud Light, I guess you can get a bucket of 6 or 7 beers for like $10 American. $10 American. So we would sit down and buy buckets for the table. Some of these bars, that was their minimum. You got to buy a bucket. I'm like, shit, it's $10. Like, that's $3 a piece, for 2 beers each. Not a big deal. This dude steadily just drinking up our beer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe he's going to loosen up. I'm cool. I'm on vacation. I'm not trying to be cheap or nothing. I just wanted us all to have a good time. And he's just steadily drinking all the alcohol, just like, that's cool.
Chris Brown, our friend, likes to dance as well. Like once he's on the dance floor, because I've seen this kid go wild. But that was here in America. But like in Thailand, I feel like he was so reserved for no reason. It's like nobody knows you here.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want and just leave. And, nobody's going to know who you are and remember who you are,
He could literally tell people that he really is Chris Brown.
Yeah.
And people would believe him.
Yeah.
Because people already thought he was Chris Brown. So I'm like, dude, do I have to tell people you're Chris Brown? Like, what do we got to do? Like, he had the best setup.
And no, even that, he just was like, no, don't say that. Because, I don't know, he just did not want to have fun. I just think that that's the case. Like, he just didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, so we continue to go drink and go walk around those streets that night. And
my bucket of beer.
With
my bucket of whiskey.
Bucket of whiskey. And after trying club after club and bar after bar, and he was just being stiff and dumb, I was like, all right, I'm done dealing with this dude. And then I forgot what he said or what he said to me, but I turned around and I slapped him in the face. I was like, quit being a little bitch and have fun. You're all the way across the world. You've been drinking my booze all night, and you're still as stiff as you were when you got off the plane.
What was funny about that is this dude is also very tall, and Renji next to him looked like Kevin Hart looking up at The Rock. All I see, I'm looking up at our friend, and he's talking about something, and all I see is Renji's hand reach all the way up and slap the shit out of this kid. I'm like, all I saw was his face and your hand reach up. It's like, slap this kid.
Dude, I was past my level of tolerance. I was like, I was intoxicated at the time. I was past buzz. I wasn't quite all the way messed up.
After a bucket of beer and a bucket of whiskey,
but
should have been.
I was just more frustrated because it was like, by that time, it was like our 3rd day in Bangkok, and he hasn't done any quote unquote turning up or getting lit like he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he did all that and didn't drink, and he's like, nah, guys, I'm cool. But he steadily drank up all our alcohol. Every time we bought buckets, he was right there to drink it. Okay, at least chip in. He didn't chip in for shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so you're just going to drink all our shit for free and still not have a good time? Yeah, so I slapped the shit out of him.
You little monkey paw.
Oh, that straightened him the F up. He's like, don't you ever touch me again. I'm like, well, quit being a bitch then. And he was not ready.
He walked all the way home from there. He didn't even take a cab. He just walked all the way back to our apartment.
Well, I mean, that's what happens,
Oh my God.
Told him not to be a bitch. At the beginning of the trip, too, I gave him examples, and this was one of the examples. I told him, why I don't like traveling with people besides Shauna is I don't want to babysit someone. If
Yeah.
I'm doing something and I have a good time and you don't, that's on you, homie. Like, that's your problem. I don't want to care if you're not having a good time because I didn't want you to come on vacation with me in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I reminded him. And then he kind of like straightened up, like, okay, yeah. You know, I'm just not feeling it right now. I'm like, yeah, that's why I slapped you. So if you want to continue being like this, I'm about to slap you again. And he's like, no, man, no, bro. You know, it's all respect, man. It's all love, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, but, you know, he still got butthurt and left.
That shit was awesome.
Sha-
I ain't never seen you do that shit before.
Shauna was like, ooh, just in the back.
Because I was in my own world. I was about to get riled up because I was, you know, off the chains as well. So that I was about to say some shit. I was about to be like talking shit in the background. I'm like, yeah, get it. And then like he looked at me. I was like, nope, never mind. Nope, I ain't saying shit.
Shauna was like, hey, give me another bucket. We'll be here for a while. We're going to squash this beef. A lot of y'all have heard about Bangkok, whether in movies, whether just in anything. Anytime people think about Thailand, Bangkok comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
One of the cities a lot of people don't talk about is Chiang Mai.
Mm-hmm.
Chiang Mai is in the northern region of Thailand. It's like an ancient city. It's an old city, which to me, that's what made it so appealing. They literally have bits of the wall that used to be up thousands of years ago when this was an ancient city. You can see how big the old Chiang Mai used to be because for historical reasons, they left the walls up. Totally different vibe from Bangkok. What was your first impressions of Bangkok? Because when we got there, we walked to like a little tea shop and then we walked around.
By the time we got to Chiang Mai, we were all partied out. I was kind of, you know, waiting to see some temples and do like the, you know, countryside thing and be around the locals and not be around the city and things like that. So by the time we got there, I'm just like chilling. I'm taking in the sights because Bangkok is, you know, it's a city. It's a big city. It's bustling. It's always full of people. But Chiang Mai was totally opposite. Of course, there was tourists there, but it wasn't like a big city vibe. It was more like this is kind of where the locals hang out. This is where people who are from here live, not just hang out. And it was just a 9-day difference from Bangkok, honestly.
It's one of the most spiritual cities in Thailand as well. They have like over 1,000 temples. Like that's how seriously spiritual it is. Big and small, but they're there.
As soon as I got there, like I said, we did a lot of partying in Bangkok, but once we got to Chiang Mai, I just didn't have that same attitude. I'm like, I'm ready to see some temples. I'm ready to go see Buddhas and go see different things and just not be so turned up and crazy, you know?
And just the vibe of the city, like you didn't really feel necessary to do any of that. Where our condo was, we were able to walk anywhere, really.
Yeah.
We were able to walk to the old city. We were able to walk to the night markets. We walked to just about anywhere that was worth seeing within the city. We stumbled upon this old strip of bars and stuff, and we probably ate there at least 3 or 4 times. As we were doing our little walking adventures, we kept crossing paths with this place. Like, oh, we're back here again. So we'd stop, have a beer, a plate of meat, and some rice, and be like, $5, please, per person. So it was even cheaper than Bangkok when it came to some of the food. The one thing in Chiang Mai that we're looking forward to, besides that temple up in the mountains, was the elephant sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
Just real quick, what an elephant sanctuary is, it's pretty much a rescue shelter for elephants. The sanctuary goes and buys elephants out of captivity. They go and rescue elephants from zoos or just other tourist locations. So whatever someone owned an elephant for tourism reasons, these people go and rescue them. If they didn't, a lot of these elephants would continue to be used for tourism until they just passed out and died or put down. These different sanctuaries throughout Thailand are making it a point to go rescue these elephants and then give them a new life. The sanctuary that we chose was outside of the city. We knew this shit was going to be an adventure when they told us, we will come pick you up. You can't get to this sanctuary in a normal car. Pickup is included in the price. A lot of people try to save money by driving themselves there. Sanctuary is like, nah, bruh. We so deep in this jungle, you ain't ever getting up here in a rental car.
You're gonna get lost because
That
there's
too.
villages up there. There's people that live in those areas up there along the mountainside. So if you go through there and you don't know where you're going, you're gonna get lost. Because again, there's no reception unless you can read a map that good and you know where you're going. Even with a map, like a lot of these places are very sacred to these people, and they don't put places like this on a
Yeah,
map,
yeah.
especially for foreigners. They're like, if you know, you know, honestly. So if you're gonna go up there by yourself, you better be prepared to read the stars to get up there.
Oh yeah. At some point, we weren't on a road anymore.
Mhm.
I remember this journey. Oh my god. I'm just visualizing the journey right now. I'm just like, I can't believe we did that. So, your trip to the elephant sanctuary begins with them coming to pick you up. They told you it's going to be an adventure. They told you it's going to take over an hour and a half to get there. You're going up mountains and you're going through the jungle. You're thinking they're going to pick you up with this safari Range Rover kind of vehicle, a Hummer.
Mhm.
No. No.
Tell me why this pickup truck come over, right? Imagine a 4x4 that somebody bought. They made their own makeshift hardtop to go over the back of this 4x4. And it's meant for people to sit in the bed of the truck, but you have like a hardtop over you.
That shit was a homemade truck.
It didn't even have stairs to get up in it because it was tall, but it just didn't have any way of getting up in this thing. So
So the guy that came to pick us up, he rolled up in a Nissan extended pickup truck. There was the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and there was a back row of seats behind the driver. That's why I said extended. It was an open pickup truck though. They literally welded some high school bleacher seats in the back of this pickup truck. And then, as Shana said, they kind of makeshift built a roof and an enclosure that was supposed to protect you from the elements. But they forgot one thing. There's no back door. It's an opening the size of a door. And then their windows weren't windows. They were like thick pieces of plastic that rolled up and rolled down and had one button. One button. So once they started driving, wind was coming through this window and flapping. And remember, no back door. There's 8 of us piled in the back of this pickup truck, and we're all staring out the back door. And then dude takes off. He is hauling ass on the highway. And wind is whipping through the back, and everyone's like, this is cool, right? This is cool, right? And he was just going for like 45 minutes straight. He was going like 60, 70 miles per hour. I know because I try to look through the front to see how fast he was going. And we're not wearing seat belts. We don't have any like bars to hold on to like on the subway. You literally holding on to each other and everyone's rocking back and forth.
hanging out dear life.
And you look out the back and you see traffic. I'm like, oh, okay.
In the middle of this trip, driving 60 miles per hour, we stop at a stoplight finally. And we're just like, we're stopped. Like, okay, cool. Okay, we're going to stop. Everything's good. Everything's good, right? We're just sitting there waiting at the stoplight. All of a sudden, we hear somebody come from the back, looking at us from the open back of this truck, and was like, "You guys all right?" And we're like, "Shit, dude, aren't you our driver?"
He scared the shit out of us.
We didn't even expect somebody to come up to us and talk to us. But not only that, it was the driver. I'm like, shouldn't you be in the seat driving us right now?
So just to paint a clear picture, remember, he's been driving for half an hour and he stopped at the light on the highway, got out of the truck, walked to the back to come talk to us, waiting for the light to turn green. And then he offered us some water. And then he was like, hey, y'all cool back here? I got a couple seats up front, if y'all don't want to ride back here, but nobody wanted to be a bitch. So we're like, no, we're good. This is part of the adventure. We were there with a family from Denmark. And they were so excited that everyone wanted to stay back. They're like, ooh, this is so exciting. Nobody wants to go front. Okay, adventurers. I like that.
Because by this time, this family had been to Thailand at least 6
Yeah.
times before this. And so they were already ready.
Yeah.
They already knew. So it was nice talking to them because they were a bag of fun, honestly.
Yeah, that's also why we didn't want to leave the back because we were making friends with this family from Denmark. But anyways, back to the truck driving. We thought the worst of it was going to be on the highway because dude could go 70 miles per hour like he was hauling ass. Once we got out of the city and the climb up the mountain began, that was a trip too because now the roads are winding and he's got to keep up his momentum because the truck can only climb so high because it's hard on the engine. So he's going even faster. He's like, guys, hang on. And we're just going faster and faster and faster. I'm like, holy shit, can this truck even do this on this winding road? And then we get to like the top of the mountain and then the roads run out. And then he's like, okay, guys, it's going to get a little rough. And then we're just trekking through this 1-lane dirt road and we hit a village. And what do we see?
The only time this man stopped, the only time this man went a decent mile per hour speed was when we came across this elementary school. These kids were having like a parade day and they were kind of like in a marching line where it was like single file and they're like going through this town and walking past the school. And these kids were so cute. They were wearing their costumes. They're doing this parade day. And like I said, the only time this man stopped for any reason at all was because these kids were trying to cross the street and do their thing. And then he was back to just going 70 miles per hour.
Yeah, he was back to hauling ass on this dirt road. And even though he warned us it's going to be rough, you can hear the truck sliding. You can just, the back was whipping and you can hear the dirt flinging.
The trees were slapping the truck.
Yeah. It was a 1-lane road and they were playing chicken. It was pretty much who had the biggest vehicle didn't have to stop. So there was times where you would look towards the front and another car would go and he'd just be beeping, telling him to move. And sometimes the cars wouldn't move until the last second. So we're both kind of off the road and both coming back on. But then we hit this one point where there was like this big old farm truck. Like it was big. It was like a military kind of truck. And our driver would not back down. We're like, dude, that thing's going to hit us and destroy us. And he's beeping, and the guy's not moving. And then our driver finally dodged out the way last minute and then cussed him out. Oh, stupid asshole. Dude, he has a way bigger vehicle than us. Anyways, scary journey through the villages aside.
Dude, it was that car was going so fast that because we had windows like railings on the side, like where against our backs. So I'm like hanging out the window, like hanging onto this truck, just going. I was like, shit. I'm like looking out the window behind me too, and like all you see is boom, 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 like everything going by so fast. We're not exaggerating. Like I caught a lot of this on my cell phone. So I'm like trying to film. I'm trying to hang on to this thing. It was a journey.
It was scary, yeah.
But it was awesome.
Yeah, it was part of the adventure. So we finally get to the sanctuary. Like we got to park at the base and then walk the rest of the way. Like I said, we going up a jungle mountain for real.
Yeah.
So the road's been run out. So now we're trekking through this jungle and we're going up and down hills. And he's like, oh, be careful. Don't fall in the river. And we got to cross the damn river, go back down the mountain, and then go back up the mountain. Then we finally get the damn sanctuary. It's on top of the hill.
Yep.
And it's like this most gorgeous, priceless view. You're just here and it's raw nature and there's the stream was there and you're just looking around like, holy shit.
It was beautiful.
We're on top of a mountain in a damn jungle right now. Next thing you know, they give us like the little speech and what to do and what to expect. And then they called the elephants over. That was so majestic. What, there was like 6 of them?
Yeah.
Just walking over, just chilling. Like nobody was whipping them. Like they weren't on a leash. Wait, you can't put a leash on an elephant.
No.
They weren't tied up or anything. So they were just free wandering elephants. And they weren't afraid of humans. And they were just chilling.
The one thing that the instructor reiterated over and over again was that these elephants are free, and we can't do or expect anything from these elephants that they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't want to go in the water with you, or if they didn't want to be fed or touched or anything like that, that's not your call to make. That is the elephant's call to make. If the elephant just wants to sit down and do whatever it wants to do, if it wants to run away and, whatever that elephant wanted to do, you couldn't expect anything other than that, because those people were there to save these elephants.
They had a general itinerary for us saying, for the first hour, we're going to play with them and feed them. And then after that, we're going to walk them down to the river and bathe with them and help them bathe. And after that, we're going to come back and feed them and play with them one last time. Then we're going to eat lunch and go home. That's the plan. But if these elephants don't feel like doing it, then we're not going to make them. Like, we're not going to shock them. We're not going to do anything to make them entertain you. So one of the first things we got to do was feed them bananas. They would give us a bushel of bananas, and you get to choose whatever elephant you want to hang out with. I chose the smallest one of the group because, not gonna lie, I was kind of scared of the big ones. So I chose the baby of the group because he was just a little bit taller than me, and he was the only one that was nice to me at the time. I kind of walked up to the other ones, is just kind of hey, hi, just trying to talk to them and stuff. But they all just kind of gave me the stank eye. They have a lot of expressions in their eye. When you really look at them, you can tell what they're thinking and feeling. You're like, oh, this guy doesn't like me. But the baby one, oh, that was my baby Jumbo. That was my Dumbo. He was so sweet. And then I was just feeding him one at a time because, not gonna lie, I was trying to make it last for the video. But he quickly learned where I was stashing my bananas, and he was not being patient with me.
Give me it.
As soon as I was down to my last one, he was just swinging his trunk at me give me another one. Give me another one. He kind of knew that the instructors had more, so he was just I'm waiting. So, which elephant did you feed?
I fed the same one, I think. I believe it was the same one because for a while the elephants were taking their time to get over there. So I think it was just the little one at first, and then he did the same thing to me.
Yeah.
I have a video where I'm holding the bananas, and that was a bad thing to do because
You showed him all the goodies.
you could just see me I'm trying to give it to the elephant, and he's okay, another one. Okay, another one. It's I couldn't do it fast enough to where he was gonna be satisfied. Honestly, could have just picked me up with his trunk, and just
Put you
upside down and get the bananas from me. They also gave you bamboo bushels to give to the elephants. I didn't know that was food. I thought that's how they made them come. One of the instructors gave me a bushel of them to hold, so I'm okay, yeah, come here, elephants. I was turned to the side, and I could still see it on my peripheral. And out of my peripheral, I see this big giant elephant come galloping towards me. I'm just yay, elephant. Elephant.
He was the big boy too. He was the biggest one of the group.
His ears were flapping. He was he was so huge, and he was coming right towards me. I pretty much just threw the bamboo up in the air and ran. I'm oh hell no.
I was terrified for her. I was well, Shana, it's been great. Sorry.
Elephant.
Because that guy, I saw it too. That guy beelined it towards Shana. Just boom, 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 boom. I was this guy is the size of a truck. And Shana just holy shit.
And slow motion, I'm no.
Oh my God.
I beelined it for the other side of the park. I'm hell no.
In my head, I was God, how am I going to explain this to her family? So you took Shana up a mountain and then an elephant ate her. Yep. That sums it up.
He was very friendly. Don't get me wrong. He was just excited to see a bushel of bamboo. And I was the wrong person to be holding this bamboo. One of the instructors should have been holding it because this guy seen that shit from all the way up the mountain and just came rushing down towards me. I was not ready for that.
Yeah, we weren't on the bamboo segment yet because I was just trying to get more bananas still.
Yeah. So at some point, the instructors wanted us to go back with them to go get more bamboo and bananas. And they had it on this, a truck or something that they had up there where they would bring, food back and forth. And they had everything stashed in this one truck. So all the elephants at this point were there with us. And then the instructor's like, okay, those of you who want to come back and get more food, now's the time. We were trying to get some bushels to bring back down to the elephants. And at some point, that very same big elephant noticed what we were doing, turned around and was like, oh, there's the food. And then saw us over there. And again, unfortunately for me, I was the one up there. I was the one. I see this thing come running back. He's like, oh, yeah, got your food. I know where the food is. I'm like, no.
Poor Shana.
This thing was galloping up the mountain to get back over to me. I'm like, you will not leave me alone.
He was hauling ass, and the rest of us just kind of got out of his way. And then he went up there and just wrapped his trunk around like 3 bushels and brought them all back down like, I got my bushels. We thinking he's going to like put it down for everyone. No, he goes in his own corner, puts it down, and then he grabs like half a bushel and starts smacking it on the ground to let everyone know this is his shit.
Yeah.
So everyone just kind of like got out of his way.
They're like, oh, never mind.
Humans and elephants. He's just like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Everyone just gave him his space, and then he just started eating this bushels by himself, while the other elephants was just like, thanks, dick. Thanks for sharing it with us. But he was the biggest guy in the group, so ain't no one was going to mess with him.
He was huge. I've never seen that big of an animal that close. Like, he was literally next to me. I mean, I got out of his way eventually, but, you know.
Yeah, mind you, these handlers were just regular people from the village.
Mm-hmm.
The backstory with some of these handlers is they're from the same family, and they've had elephants their entire life. That's why they started the sanctuary. The main guy in charge, the host, it's been his mission to create elephant sanctuaries. So all the other employees are his family members. If that elephant was out of control, there was nothing they could have done.
Right.
But they had so much trust and respect for their animals that they knew this wasn't going to happen. Once again, I need to reemphasize, these were free roaming elephants. None of the handlers had tranquilizers, electric poking rods, so they didn't have any violent way to discipline these things. The only thing they could do was go up to the elephant and calm it down, like on some Avatar shit. And that's what they were doing too. Like, none of the elephants got wild.
Yeah.
But some of them were just like, I'm sick of these people. And they would just go up next to the table where we're all sitting at and taking a dump. But then the guy would be like, hey, Bruno, come here. Don't be shitting next to our table. And he'd be like, okay. And he walks over and goes shits in the river. So you're like, wow, these guys do have a real good connection with these elephants, because these elephants would just follow them around.
The instructors did tell us that they take time to train these elephants.
Yeah.
Once they get them in a good place and they feel better being in the sanctuary and not being enslaved. And he did tell us a story about the baby one that you were feeding when we first got there. And he was saying at some point he was trying to train another elephant, and then the baby got jealous and was trying to, you know, be like the baby again. And like he had to go back and forth with these animals. And when he told that story, it was just very touching to know that these elephants, as big as they are, they do get jealous and they do have emotional problems, and they have to train these elephants to not be that way.
Yeah.
And to, you know, they calm them down in ways where if they were still enslaved, they would just get like electrocuted and, you know, abused all the time. But these people really took their feelings into accountability, and it was just a sweet story what they were saying.
Yeah, these elephants truly were what they call them, gentle giants. It was a really like life-changing experience for me. I don't even like going to petting zoos. Like, I don't like being close to animals, even small animals. Like, yeah, like a cat maybe, but I don't even like being around most people's dogs. So it definitely took me out of my comfort zone to go see these elephants. If y'all had followed some of my Instagram or my Facebook posts, y'all see I was right up in the mix. Like, the one baby one that I befriended, I'm just sitting there vlogging with him, and we just chilling, but we like face to face. We took a selfie together. We're like cheek to cheek. And I was like, oh, he likes me.
Oh.
I tried to take a selfie with the big one, and he just like nudged me. He nudged me.
He nudged me too, and it was to feel the force of even that was terrifying.
Yeah. He did not want me to take a selfie with him. He was cool being fed.
Mm-hmm.
He was cool letting you pet his side.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got next to his face, he gave you a warning nudge.
Yeah.
And then me being stubborn, I was just like, did I do something? So I got next to him again, like, but I didn't get as close. And then he like nudged me and just kind of blew out his trunk. And I was like, okay. Okay.
I get it.
I get it. He gonna kill me next, so. But they communicated. After we fed them, the next thing was to take them down to the river to go swimming. And their caretakers were like, okay, let's go to the river. And all the elephants were like, yeah, cool, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down to the river and like they got in the water, but the water was really cold. So some of them didn't want to bathe, but there was a couple that did. So the instructor's like, okay, everyone, take off your shoes and walk in this shallow river and just don't cut your feet on the rocks. And I'm just like, I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to go and bathe the elephants. So we're in this cold ass water and we're just having a water fight with the damn elephants. Did you enjoy that? Cold water aside.
I will say being down there with the elephants was like amazing, 100% amazing. When they got in the water and they really got in the water and got all, because what elephants do to keep cool in the sun is they put dirt all over themselves, so they look a different color. But then when they got in the water and like washed around in it and they got all the dirt off of them, they were a totally different color. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see because they were just like fully clean and black. I'm like, I didn't understand that they were black underneath all that. But anyways, that was cool too. I mean, being in the cold water, it hurt a lot because it was cold.
Yeah.
But I will say something else. This was the only time our friend Chris Brown was actually happy.
Yeah.
And actually having a good time. Like, he was having too much of a good time to the point where he annoyed me because he kept throwing water all over me like we were kids. I'm like, dude, we're not here for that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, so that was the only time he actually had a good time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, of all things, really.
Go play with the elephants. Stop messing with me.
I know.
This is what we're here for.
He's all like splashing water all over me. But that whole experience was just amazing. And to see the elephants not want to be in the water at times and like doing what we want to do kind of, but then doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a great experience. And once they got bored of the water, the elephants just kind of walked out and went to go stand on the road like, okay, now what?
They just made their way back up, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, so we just had to follow them back up to where they wanted to go. So yeah, we fed them one last time, and we had lunch and made friends with all the other people. Everyone there, you could tell that was a life-changing experience for them, and they've just never seen so much natural beauty from being up on top of a mountain to being in the jungle, just to being with these majestic creatures up close like that.
Yeah.
And the elephants just went back to wherever they were going to go hang out. Because as soon as they were dismissed, a couple of the trainers just walked them off into the sunset. Literally, like they were there, and next thing we know, they were gone.
Yeah.
We're like, where the hell do they take these things?
Because where we were, you could see it the other side of the mountain. It took me by surprise because we were all, sitting in the circle and, talking one last time. And then we see the elephants, like, go off in their own way. And then we see them across the mountain. I'm like, how'd they get all the way over there?
Dumbo's real. They can really fly.
No, it was like a path that led them
Yeah.
up there. But it was just surreal to see that. Like, they truly were free. They went home,
Yeah.
basically. And it was really refreshing to see that there's people out there who still care about animals and still take the time to care for them.
We thought they lived in like somewhere, like maybe they had a cage at night that they got put into, but no, they literally just lived free on the land. That's what the dude wanted to emphasize one last time. He's like, these elephants are just gonna walk and they're gonna sleep wherever they want. The guy was like, my family has lived in this village. We've lived in this jungle for generations. We all have a respect for these elephants, so no one's going to mess with them. Wherever they choose to sleep tonight, that's where they're going to sleep. And everyone will let them be because everyone in that village knows that these belong to the elephant sanctuary.
Yeah.
That was so touching.
Yeah.
And the guy even told a story that you think would make him hate elephants, but it made him love and respect elephants even more. He told us how his family was real poor and they needed an elephant to help them around their farm. His dad captured a wild elephant. Oh, for those that don't know, Thailand has a lot of wild elephants still. if you live in the jungle, you have a good chance of seeing one and you can catch an elephant. So his dad caught an elephant to help work on the farm. The elephant loved him and his dad, but for some reason hated his brother. His brother wasn't as good with elephants, but long story short, something happened and the elephant kind of lost it and killed his brother. But the family didn't like kill the elephant. They didn't go shoot him because he was gentle to everyone else. Comes to find out, the brother was the only one that was mean to the elephant. He didn't have any patience with it. So he would use a hook. What some trainers do is they put a metal collar around the elephant and they use a long hook and they link on the elephant's collar. His brother was trying to train the elephant with fear. So he kept like waving the hook around, trying to scare the elephant. But one day the elephant just wasn't having it. And the elephant tried to defend himself because his brother was trying to be mean to it. And the elephant ended up killing him. He was never mean to any other family members ever again. So that's what gave the instructor like a better understanding of how these creatures are. And then he's like, yeah, you would think our family would put down this elephant, but we learned a greater respect for it. And ever since then, our views and our lives have changed around these creatures. He's like, they're just like people. You treat them good, they'll treat you good.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry that my brother had to die, but that's what my dad tried to warn us. But my brother wouldn't listen. It's like, damn. I'm like, that is a very emotional story that I was wondering why he would tell that on a tour group. but I guess it's just to show the love and respect they have for elephants.
Because he was really trying to emphasize that there were a lot of elephants still out there who were being mistreated, and there's these tours that you could ride elephants, and that's a big no-no in these sanctuaries because that angers the elephants, it irritates them. You don't do that. It's just something you don't do. But they're still being made to do that. He was just emphasizing over and over again like how these elephants are being mistreated over and over again all the time, and he still has so much work to do to try to free these elephants. It's like, yeah, he was just showing two different sides of how people feel about these animals.
On that note, the one thing that got me was, even though he said the things like a lot of tourism activities are hurting elephants, he still never said, don't support these businesses. And I was like, why? Like, they're abusing these animals. But then he had a good point. He's like, well, if no one goes to these businesses, what's going to happen to these elephants? They're just going to get killed and left on the side of the road. As much as I don't want to see elephants in captivity doing that, once they're there, how can you help them if you don't go and see them?
That's true.
And I was like, wow, like that just blew my
He
mind.
had such a deep understanding with every. That's why next time when we go back, I want to go specifically back to that one.
Yeah. And like another point he made was, we need tourists like you to also go spend money over there so they can keep these elephants alive long enough for people like me to go and get them.
Oh, man.
He's like, once they're there, we just have to wait until the owners don't want them anymore. And he's like, that's the only way we can help them. But then he also brought up like another point too. He's like, we can only bring over elephants that have a good temperament. We can't have an elephant out here acting all wild and crazy. Those elephants need love and a home too. So unless people are out there spending money on them, those elephants would just get put down. They're not going to release that elephant to the wild.
Yeah.
So he's just like, what do you do? Do you say they're evil, they're bad, and then you let those elephants die? Or do you do what you can to keep them alive long enough for someone else to come help them? And I was not ready to end the trip on some emotional thought like that. Like, damn, bro. I just wanted to take some cute pictures, but now you got me really feeling for these animals. Not to say I didn't care about them in the first place. That's why I wanted to go to the sanctuary. And I just found out a couple days ago that my dad owned a couple elephants. He never told me that shit. But anyways, I'm not going to talk about that right now. But it's just a part of life out there. The elephant sanctuary definitely is a must do. Whatever region in Thailand you're at, do yourself a favor and do it. It may seem expensive on the surface because it's like $75, I think. It's like a half day's activity, and they come pick you up and they drive you an hour and a half to the jungle somewhere.
And then drive you back.
And they drive you back. And that's one of the last things I want to talk about before we cut off this episode.
Same guy picks us up, the guy that was driving crazy through the jungle. And we get back into his makeshift truck, and we make it down, like, I want to say, like, halfway down the mountain. And then he stops the truck. We're like, wait, why are we stopping? Again, out of nowhere. Hey, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and go home now. So, bye. Just in the back of the truck, like, looking in at us, like, aren't you supposed to be in the truck driving?
Yes.
Again with this guy. Again.
He had me losing my shit. I'm like, who's supposed to drive the truck then? The elephant?
As he was saying that, the truck was starting up again. And I didn't see that anyone else got in the truck. So I'm looking over, like, I hear him talking, and I look over, and, like, the car is starting up again. And I'm like, who is driving this damn car?
And then we see him walking away, go, bye, guys. Thank you. He's just...
What?
Okay, once again, let's rephrase it just for some clarity. Elephant Sanctuary adventure is done. We get in the same truck that we got in to go there. Same driver drives us. Doesn't say anything. Starts driving us down this mountain. 20 minutes, half an hour later, he just stops. Doesn't say anything. And then he pops up in the back of the truck. Hey guys, I'm leaving. I'm going home now. I actually live right here. And then the truck starts back up and it's driving itself. So I'll just imagine how terrifying it is to experience this, because you're just like, wait, that's our driver. He didn't say anyone else was going to take over. But then you stop and then you're like, damn, this dude really lives here.
Mm-hmm.
And not to like diss his living situation, but this was a real like village. House made from a couple boards, a roof, a couple mosquito nets. Like it was what you would expect a village in a third world country to look like.
They look like bungalows to me. So pretty much this guy just got in the car to drive himself home and then let somebody else take the car. Like, how do we know this guy's going to go to the right place? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys.
And next thing you know, the truck starts driving and we peek in the driver's seat, and I swear to you, this kid looks like he was 12 driving us home. I mean, yes, Asians don't raisin and we look young forever, but damn, I wanted to check his ID for real, but this kid could barely look over the steering wheel, and he's whipping us down this mountain even faster than we went up there. Because mind you, we going downhill now.
Going downhill.
Oh my God, like that was scary going back. We were probably an hour into the trip home, and then the family from Denmark was like, hey, wasn't it funny when the driver came in the back and said hello? Like, no, it wasn't. It was scary.
And now a 12-year-old is driving us home.
But he waited a whole hour to say that. He was still thinking about it too, so I'm glad we weren't the only ones that were like, what in the hell just happened?
What's happening here?
But one of these days, I will edit that vlog footage. It's like I was about to edit it, but then, pandemic happened, because we did go in December of 2019, and then the world shut down a couple months later. So never got a chance to put the footage up because it just felt inappropriate just to be putting up vacation videos when the world shut down. One of these days, you guys will see the actual vlog footage of that, and there's so much more we left out. But the vlog footage covers a lot, so stay tuned for that one of these days, I guess. But yeah, there was so much more we have to tell you, because we didn't even get to Phuket, really. We haven't even talked about our Phuket adventures. That's like the island life of Thailand. So maybe one of these days we'll talk about that story, because I almost died. So I'll just leave you with that. It was a very dangerous situation, and but yeah, sorry for the cliffhangers. We are out of time for this week's episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast. As we said last week, make sure you follow Shauna's new Instagram page. What is it, Shana?
Shana_Mostella. It's the same as my Twitch account.
And follow that too. As we said, Shana started a new Instagram page because her other one is a lot of cosplay, and a lot of people get mad that she posts non-cosplay stuff. So she just wanted to start a new page just to start fresh, so she could just post non-cosplay content. Whatever Shana feeling that day, whatever she be looking good in, she gonna post it. And she's tired of the cosplay community telling her you can't post sexy content, even though that's her page. But anyways, just to separate the two, she started a new page. And also, like she said, make sure you follow us on Twitch. We'll be streaming every week for that live interaction. Hope you guys have enjoyed some of our Thailand tales. Hope you guys really consider it for your next trip whenever the world opens up. Start saving up your money. Because don't you want to play with some elephants?
They're really cute.
They're really cute. And it's a very Instagrammable moment. But don't Instagram the big one. He's a dick.
There's a lot of big ones out there.
The biggest one. He is a dick, and he will snatch a bushel of bamboo from you so quickly. And he might take your phone, too. Take his own selfies.
It's my phone now.
My phone, bitch. You want it back? Give me some bananas. All right, guys. With that said, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Shinobi Squad podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.